Good morning. Today we will begin with lesson Wanderlust. That is the unit. Wanderlust is a unit. Now, what do you mean by the word Wanderlust? Wanderlust means a strong desire to travel. Here, the lesson is the quest for El Dorado. Now, what do you mean by the quest? Quest means a long search which was undertaken for what? In search of El Dorado. El Dorado, it is the name of a city. Which kind of city it is? It is a mythical city. Mythical means imaginative city. So this city, it was also known to be the city of gold. People, uh, they wanted to go and visit this city. So now let's read about what is there. It was the promise of wealth beyond measure that lured the explorers. Lured means attracted. What attracted the explorers? Now, who are the explorers? Explorers are the people who traveled around a place in order to learn about it or know about it. So these people, they wanted to go to this city, El Dorado. Why they wanted to go? Because the city, it was a city of gold, and they thought they would get lot of wealth. They travel to seek out El Dorado. Therefore, they travel to search where El Dorado is. And the mythical city of gold that was supposedly located in the unexplored interior of South America. So where it is located? In the unexplored interior of South America. El Dorado was believed to be unimaginably rich with dazzling gold paved streets. Now, this city was believed to be very rich. The streets were covered with gold. The streets were also covered with gold. Golden temples were there, and rich lines of gold and silver. There were fanciful tales about this mighty city. So there were many imaginative tales are there related to this mighty city, where billets of gold lay about in heaps. Where billets means bars. Bars of gold lay in heaps, just like the logs of wood. Just like the logs of wood, uh, they kept out on the streets for burning. In the same way, this city has lot of gold bars are there which are lying on the streets, which attracted the explorer to visit that city. So between 1530 and 1650 AD, thousands of Europeans researched the jungles, plains, mountains, and rivers of South America for El Dorado. An expedition would begin typically in a town of Spanish coast. So Europeans, Spain also comes as is one of the European part. So it's from the Spain, some expedition mean their search will start from Spanish coast. Charismatic means attractive and influential individual would announce. Influential means famous individual would announce his intention, would announce his wish to go forth in search of fabled wealth of El Dorado. So one of the person, very influential person, would announce that he wanted to go to this city, that is El Dorado. Anywhere from 100 to 700 Europeans, mostly Spaniards, would sign up. And how many people would join this expedition? 100 to 700, bringing their own armor, weapons, and horses. Whatever they require during their journey, the expedition, they used to bring all their weapons, their horses, etc. At times, they would take livestock, and they also used to carry along with them the livestock. Livestock here means the animals, so that they can slaughter them. Slaughter means kill or eat along the way. Fighting dogs were always brought. They also used to take with them the fighting dogs. Why? Because they were useful when fighting the indigenous population of the continent, because when they reach that city, because where it is the city is in South America. So when they reach there, they would uh, they would meet the people of South America, the native people. So they used to take the dogs so that dogs can uh, scare those people. Once on South American soil, once they reach the South American soil, the expedition would head off into the jungle. And then they go into the jungle and this expedition would last any length of time from a few months to a few years. And the expedition might take few months to few years. On the way, they these explorers would meet native inhabitants. On the way, they meet those native people who would be either tortured or piled up with gifts. So these native people, they used to torture them for knowing in pursuit of information, means they wanted to know the information about the city. So they used to either torture them, or sometimes they used to give them the gifts in order to know the location of it. The natives would point in any direction, and these natives were also very clever. They used to point them in any direction and send them on their way, having learned, because it was the best way to get rid of them, these rude and violent people. So that was because they had only that means, only through that method only they can get rid of these violent people. Meanwhile, illnesses, desertion, and attacks would whittle down the expedition. Whittle down here means reduce the number of people. Because how many people join? 100 to 700 people join. This is the number they have told. So that number would decrease. What are the reasons? Might be due to some illnesses. Some people may die due to illnesses. Number two, due to desertion. Some people may got lost their way, or attacks. Due to attack also, they would have lost their life. Nevertheless, the expedition proved surprisingly resilient, and sometimes the this expedition proved surprisingly resilient. Resilient means strong enough to deal with illness. How? That sometimes there were so many, they used to fight braving mosquito infested swamps. Sometimes they had to cross the mosquito infested swamps, the marshy place. They used to cross the swamps, which was where a lot of mosquitoes were there. Angry natives, they had to deal with angry natives. Blazing heat of the plains. On the plain, they had to bear up the heat of the plains. Flooded rivers and dangerous mountain passes. Eventually, when their number dwindled or the leaders died, and sometimes slowly, gradually, sometimes their number decreased. Dwindled means decreased, or the leaders die, the expedition would give up and return home. And sometimes they used to give up. They no more. They used to carry on with the expedition. They used to come back to their place. Of the Spanish adventurers, the most persistent was a bold explorer named Antonio de Barrio. So this is one of the Spanish adventurer who went uh, to the city in search of wealth only. He set out with 700 horsemen. He went with 700 horsemen, but the route was difficult and exhausting, very tiring. Exhausting means they got tired, very difficult. The natives usually hostile. They found the natives unfriendly. Hostile means unfriendly. And many of the men and horses died and were slain. Many of their horses died or they were killed. Slain means killed. The surviving men were so weary and eager to return home that Berryu was forced to give up his quest, and he then settled on the island of Trinidad as governor. So he gave up his expedition, and then he settled in one of the island of Trinidad as governor. So this is the example of one example of Spanish adventure has been given here. Then the next adventure that we continue in the next video. Till then, stay safe.